Good morning, welcome to CATEX TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. Today is Tuesday, February 5th, 2013. Lloyd's third-party syndicate manager, ASTA, has obtained in principle approval for a new syndicate, Lloyd's Syndicate 2357, which is being backed by the Bermudian specialist investment manager, Nephila Capital. Nephila Capital has been a groundbreaking entity in Bermuda for the last 8 or 9 years, developing insurance-linked securities products. ASTA said this morning that the syndicate would underwrite catastrophe excess of loss reinsurance aimed at those cedents whose requirements generally cannot be satisfied by the conventional reinsurance market. They're going to begin with an investment of about $158 million US coming from Nephila. It will begin trading as soon as all operation issues are in place, and Nephila's co-founder and current principal, Frank Majors, is going to serve as the active underwriter. Mr. Majors used to work with the Willis Group back when it was Willis Caroon before the company was taken private by KKR in 1998. KKR recently made an investment in Nephila Capital. Well, this is long overdue. The United States government is suing Standard & Poor's for fraud, for giving high ratings to risky mortgage bonds that helped bring about the financial crisis. Last night, the government said in a civil complaint that Standard & Poor's had misled investors by stating that its ratings were objective and uninfluenced by any conflicts of interest. The government said that it was Standard & Poor's desire to make money and gain market share that caused S&P to ignore the risks posed by the investments between 2004 and 2007. Standard & Poor's has denied any wrongdoing and said that the lawsuit would eventually be found to be without any merit. German reinsurer Munich Re has reported a net profit of about $4.3 billion for 2012, up about $900 million from the catastrophe-impacted 2011 year. It raised its dividend by 10%. The reinsurance segment of Munich Re contributed about 3.1 billion euros, which would be about 3.5 billion US, up from 500 million euros last year. Their combined ratio in property cat reinsurance was all the way down to 91%. This is from about 114% last year. They finally released their hit from Sandy. It came in at about $1 billion US. Hartford Financial Services Group, mostly known as the Hartford, said that it's going to buy back about $500 million in stock and cut debt by $1 billion. This is according to a statement that came out this morning. They also indicated that their net loss from the last quarter of 13 cents a share, or $46 million, was due primarily to Superstorm Sandy. This compares with a profit of about $118 million a year earlier. The Boeing 787 investigation continues. The Japanese investigative agency said that an investigation into the lithium-ion battery that overheated on the 787 flight in Japan that prompted an emergency landing found evidence of a thermal runaway seen in a similar incident in Boston. The Japanese safety agency said that CAT scans and other analyses found damage to all 8 cells in the battery that overheated on the All Nippon Airways 787 on January 16th. They distributed photos yesterday showing severe charring of the battery. All 50 787s remain grounded. Investigators had earlier said that they had found no evidence of quality problems with the production of the 787 batteries by a company called GS Yuasa, which is based in Kyoto. The verdict has come in on the Pemex explosion. The Mexican authorities are saying that a buildup of gas in the basement of the headquarters of the Pemex National Oil Company was responsible for the explosion that killed 37 people. Apparently, authorities believe that the gas was methane gas that might have leaked into the basement from a number of ducts and tunnels that passed under or connected to the building built up from the sewer system. Some spark then ignited and the explosion ensued. Yesterday, a Chinese military vessel locked its weapons targeting radar on a Japanese warship in that ongoingly tense dispute over the disputed islands north of Japan. The Chinese ship ultimately unlocked its weapons radar without firing a shot, but the incident underscores just how close the two countries are literally one mistake away from a potentially armed conflict. Japan launched a protest formally with the Chinese government. Well, here's an interesting story. The next great Cascadia earthquake will kill thousands of people in Oregon and cause at least $32 billion in economic losses unless preparations are radically overhauled. This is a result of a 290-page report from a state panel that appeared in the Portland newspaper, The Oregonian. Buildings will be so severely damaged that restoring full utility services could take up to a year. The most comprehensive study to date of a threat that wasn't even known until the 1980s makes chilling reading. It finds that severe shaking, probably for more than 3 minutes, and inundation would cause near total damage in a tsunami zone where about 22,000 people live and 15,000 people work. Across western Oregon, many schools would collapse, hundreds of highway bridges would collapse, aging tanks holding the state's main fuel supply along the lower Willamette River would probably burst, transmission towers would topple into the river, blocking ships, fires, landslides, and explosions will proliferate, hydrants and sprinkler systems won't work, there won't be sewer service, water service, electricity, ATMs, phones, TV, radio, or internet. The experts who volunteered to work on sections of the report expressed surprise at the results they had found. And this is also long overdue for any frequent flyer who wonders about the behavior of some of their fellow passengers. A Canadian family could find themselves being sued for more than $50,000 after causing an international flight to be diverted to Bermuda. Sunwing Flight 454 from Halifax to the Dominican Republic landed in Bermuda on Friday night after the McNeil family, David McNeil, 54 years old, Donna McNeil, 52 years old, and David McNeil Jr., 22 years old, all from Nova Scotia, ended up causing a commotion. According to the court testimony, shortly after the aircraft pulled away from the gate, the 22-year-old McNeil got up to try to use the restroom. The flight crew told him to sit down. Immediately after takeoff, he got up again and attempted to get into the bathroom. He was told again to sit down. This time his father got up and attempted to go into the bathroom. The flight crew made them both sit down, and finally when they reached altitude and the seatbelt sign went off, the younger McNeil went into the bathroom and then began cursing loudly, and the smell of smoke was smelled. It was later discovered that Mr. McNeil might have been smoking in the restroom. The flight was diverted to Bermuda, and the airline had to put up all 170 passengers in hotels. The McNeils did concede that tensions were high because of delays of the flight departure, and they might have in fact acted in a poor manner. Well, put that fine right on them. That's the news for today. If we have any breaking news, we'll come back and tell you. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you tomorrow.